these aren't just like stories and happenings that are arbitrary and like fun to hear. They're like randomly tied and consistent with anybody's possible life existence if you just like pay attention in hindsight, you know.
Right.
And it's f***ing cool to just see that happen to everybody in their own way.
Okay, so we're doing a wrap-up episode right now of JK Out the Closet, a series incubated by Bart, Kwan, and perfectly executed by the boys. Really, truly, the ideas guy was shown to be right, so that's what matters.
The thing that I was worried about, but also not too worried, because we've been good boys when we had like really special guests.
Tulsi, shout out.
And like we let them speak and we really let to get the story out. And I know when we need to get vulnerable and have like a nice through line narrative, we're able to get there. But I also know how much we love like pressing that nuke button on each other.
But you're gay.
Yeah, let's talk about when those nuke buttons were so present. You know what I mean?
But they were still on topic though.
I slept with my mom until I was 13. Insane. Insane.
And it was like that early, it was like first thing in the day.
Insane.
I think he's told us that before.
Yeah,
and we got to play.
But I forgot.
Yeah.
You know, that it was that long.
So to me, that was important because the whole tone of this series is about letting it all out, really relating to the fans. 'Cause I know a lot of the fans are like, they hear snippets of certain stories that only relate to like an article or OTR we're talking about, but they want to hear the full context, and I didn't want to have that be interrupted.
When you suggested this, I was thinking, man, what other stories do we have? Because we told all these stories before. But the way that it was done, where all of us had 5 episodes back to back,
was a nightmare.
we got to go deeper and deeper. We got to go deeper and deeper and more specific without being derailed.
Yeah.
And then it was new content. Even though it was the same story, now we got to go layers deeper that we would have never been before.
Honestly, there was points where I was telling my fucking stories where I was looking around and I was like, will some of you guys like derail me? Can you fucking say something?
Dude, you know what? I'm hella proud of you because first off, I've never seen that side of Nick.
No.
Yeah, he was really launching. That was beautiful.
You were able to captivate us in a way that you never ever fucking done.
You're like a Toastmaster.
Yeah, he never opens up.
I was awful.
And Bart was like, Nick's a great storyteller. I'm like, I would have never known because this dude dodges every bullet like Matrix.
Well, no, if you let him talk about his schedule for 7 minutes, this guy will fucking blow him.
Can I tell you something? Like, in general, one of my biggest fears, anytime I leave a social situation or I'm with Tiff or afterwards, like we hang out with some friends, I'm always like, was I talking too much? And even on here, I'm always like, I'm gonna keep it brief, dude. I'm gonna keep my comments short, and that's it. So having to do that was a stretch. But
I actually feel like it could have been like whatever one of the topics we had, we could have done like 2 episodes per topic.
We could have, yeah.
Nick, honestly, you were captivating.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I think it's because I haven't said any of those stories, so I'm like I haven't been in the room as much as you guys, so you know, it is a little bit.
The only thing is, to the fans, apologies for the dumpster truck that went on for like 8 hours during the most dramatic moment.
During Bart's, there was a fucking buzzsaw going off, and I was like,
For
geez.
the first time ever, there's a new tool next door.
No, Nick is telling us about like his wife's difficulties medically, and like about 6,000 pounds of rebar is getting dumped off.
And a fucking semi truck's backing up.
And these Mexican cats are like, oh, playa de more, and it's like, okay, yeah, I guess.
Bro, you know what's crazy? It was like, I didn't even fucking hear none of it because I was like, don't fucking cry, you little bitch.
And that's how it started. You were about to cry, and I was about to laugh so hard.
Yeah, and call him a bitch. We were gonna call you a bitch.
Yeah, I was shaking up like this, dude. I wasn't gonna cry. Take that fucking back.
Joe cried. Joe cried.
Yeah.
No, there was no tears. There was no tears.
He got water. There was moisture. It was a huge.
That was me crying.
You cried. I saw it.
The question is, how are we gonna top this, boys? We can't top it.
We just go back to
I think
our
we
silly little selves.
I think we quit, dude.
There are a lot of depths of stories that would have never been shared because like we would have like derailed shit. We would have never. It's not even just like we wouldn't have gone that deep. There are certain things that like even myself I would have never brought up out of context because you can't share something like a piece of information for like maximum 2 minutes.
That's so true.
No, and dude, so last night Nikki calls me and stuff. And I was like, man, I didn't know Anthony made a chick get an abortion. Like, that was crazy.
Steve, take that back, man. Take that back.
You're fucking the video.
We filmed that today.
Steve, I want you to publicly apologize.
I don't apologize.
You cried for a month straight every night, and I didn't mention shit.
I don't know what you're talking about.
His face.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, dude.
By the way, even Bart too. I was like, because when Bart was going into his story stuff, like title wise, I was like, I think I've heard all this, but no, like you guys were saying, like the depth of it.
Yeah.
It was so much more enriching to hear everything. You know what I mean? Like
It's a different story.
It wasn't greatest hits because sometimes, you know, in this room, I think we all have to do greatest hits. Just like, I gotta hit the points because the boys are coming in and they're gonna get me. So I hit the points and we're moving on. But like, I actually think it was really enriching to like be able to go deeper.
Yeah, because we don't know why. I think it touches on a different reason for what the story means to you. Because we've heard about shit that happened, but we don't know what it meant to you. And what, because what Bart said is, how have these things changed your life?
Right.
It's not just like, did this happen or not?
Right.
You know?
And also, like, the questions that everyone asks is now more from, like, curious. Yeah, curious.
Inquisitive, yeah.
Instead of I'm setting you up to fuck you right now.
It's like, Steve, you think Steve has a genuine question? And you're like, actually. And then he's like, oh, fuck, I got. Motherfucker.
You were setting me up this whole time. But it was cool to hear everyone's stories in almost somewhat chronological order. And it brings so much more context to, like, how I see each of you guys as individuals. And you're like, oh, cool. Like, I get to hear this whole giant backstory. And it's like, oh, wow, that makes total sense of, like, who you are today.
Yeah,
Dude, you got me, dude. You got me good, dude. You got me so good.
I mean,
I cried on your shit, man. Fuck.
I think like
yours is.
I was all choked up.
Fucking do Anthony next.
It's happening now. That's what's fucking rough about it.
But that's what I mean.
was-
Like, and a lot of times when I think that Nick's about to cry, but I think it's just actually a nasal passage thing.
The deviated septum.
But yesterday,
The tape's too
sitting
tight.
this close to him, I could see his hands.
Yeah.
shake.
Yeah, bro, there was moments where I put my hand up and I was like, what
I
the
know.
fuck? was
Especially when
that
you talked
back
about
down?
your neighbor.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah,
And
bro,
they can't
that
see
was
shit.
that shit crushed me though.
with your name
That shit
and
crushed me.
Seeing you, like, I was like, dude, Nick is like vulnerable as absolute motherfucker right now. So it was sick.
But you know what? It's different when you're like, when you're recollecting, like when you're thinking about old stories from like years ago, how much more clear and like, you know, hindsight's 20/20. But when you're talking about stories that are like kind of recent, it's kind of harder to pull yourself out, you know? And I didn't realize that until I was telling these stories and I was like, fuck, like these last two videos are way harder than the first three. The first three, yeah, it was a lot easier. But the last two, I was like, oh yeah, I actually haven't really sat down and thought about this as much as I would like to, but it's pretty interesting.
I don't know if you guys are the same way, but like when I'm in the fight, like what Nick's going through or whatever, I don't talk about it like that. Like I just try to
There's no-
fucking
I think
fight
most-
it.
I think most
There's no excuse to.
And then later
Because you're still
on,
processing or you
Yeah.
haven't
I'm
processed.
trying to solve it.
Oh.
But also, yeah, you're trying to
like,
survive.
you're trying to survive.
You're trying to keep
right?
your head above water.
And then the best thing to do is fucking laugh about it.
Yeah,
Just
always.
joke about
Always.
it.
yeah.
Except for certain people in the comments who can't handle that.
Yeah. And then later you process it when things are actually solved. And then you go, "Ah," right?
Yeah. That's true. That's
But
true.
maybe it's a guy thing or the way that we're wired. But I feel like if someone were to therapize me and go, let's talk about it now, it actually would fuck me up.
You want to square up on them, yeah.
Well, because I feel like it would put me into a spiral of depression. Because like, I feel helpless. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And it makes it too real.
You got to push to the back of your brain a little.
No, it's like, yo, let me just deal with it. I gotta fight it. And when I'm done, then I can breathe.
Yeah. Because it's a lot more cathartic afterwards.
What was the hardest video for you, Joe?
What do you mean?
The hardest thing to talk about for you today?
Out of the 5 topics.
I think start just doing it. Like I was getting fucking like my heart was thumping and everything because I fucked up Bart's instructions and I thought it was the
Hey, me too, Joe. Hey, me too, dog.
This guy was literally sitting here rewriting shit as the next video was being shot.
No.
Hey, what'd you get for number 1?
Bro, this guy sent, when he first sent the email, the prompt of like, give me your 5 life events, I was like, what the fuck, dude? I was like, I don't got none of, I was like, I don't want to talk about none of this shit. And then while we're in Cleveland, And we're coming back over here. I'm telling Tiff, I was like, babe, I don't want to go to JK this week. I might try to find any way to fucking get out of this. Like, I might call in sick. I might say I have COVID. And then the night before, the Thursday night, I'm fucking reading Bart's prompt because he's like, hey, can you be more specific on some of these things? And I was like, more specific? What the fuck is this? And I was like, at 12:30 a.m. just typing this all out. And I was like, damn. But it was helpful to kind of put it on a piece of paper and be like, okay, I can tell the story a little better.
Because I read it as
was a nightmare,
your 5 most recent things.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, in the past couple of years. And I was stretching, dude. I was trying to find things, make it like inspirational and shit. And then when I was hearing everyone else's stories, I was like, oh no, we gotta go deep. So I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I'm gonna talk about shit I don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
You know?
That's good, man.
Yeah.
Were you, when you were doing that earlier, were you like copying off of people or whatever? Were you like, you're like, oh yeah, the time I forced a chick to get an abortion. Oh wait, no.
That's Anthony.
That's not a bit that needs to get farther than this moment.
You're branding it too hard now.
That's the end of it. That's the end.
Honestly, if
I tagged it twice.
if you respect my wife, you would stop.
I do. Easy mode. Easy mode.
We did shoot a whole video that we're not gonna upload. How about that?
I did. That was funny.
We should talk about that one.
That was fun.
Yeah.
I think Bart's prompt was, I knew what he wanted, which is like, he wanted the realness out of all of us.
Yeah. For
And
sure.
I was like, it's not gonna get any realer than this. Let me explore shit I never did before. So it's the most authentic version of, I'm not performing.
Yes.
Because a lot of the times I think when we prep for something, we perform. Because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have an inspirational story for everybody here. And then I'm gonna talk about like how I overcame when I got fired from this job. So it's like, it's tough enough, but it's not really like, I'm fucked up, and this is the reasons why. And I don't know if I'm healed from that, but this is what's happening. So I think that is kind of the approach I wanted to have, especially inspired by you, Nick, because I was like, I thought Nick was gonna do some like, oh, they made fun of me when I played tennis.
Me too, though, honestly.
But I changed my,
But you know what, though? Like,
I changed my homework because of Nick.
when I was reading all my shit, I was like, dude, this sucks. In my head, I was like, this is gonna be awful. But I don't know. I was trying to be honest.
Also, same thing. Because of Nick, I was like willing to go somewhere because I would have never shared some actual serious shit like I did because Steve's in the room. Like, he's literally he's literally the reason why I will never fucking air out drama and stuff and real thoughts because he doesn't allow this space to be safe. And then for 1 minute.
By the way, that was the ballsiest video I think anyone did. Was Anthony's video. I'm not kidding. Well, I actually. Well, yours obviously was beautiful in a different way, but no, I actually legitimately think that what you shared was ballsy as fuck, and you did it beautifully, and you actually stuck up for women. I think in a way, like putting yourself in the background and actually like sticking up for the stereotypical woman argument of like, hey man, like she wants to do this. It's not about me. I thought that was like the most mature fucking video that we did.
And it's probably a common problem, but no one talks about it because it's so touchy. So the fact that you're able to talk about it, I think it's gonna
talk about it
and ball sacking up and talking about the way he did.
And not once were you on our side when we said that bitch is lying. That bitch is lying. Run away.
That was funny. But no, honest to God, seriously. I mean, it's always satirically fun to do the other thing, but genuinely, that was ballsy as fuck.
Absolutely.
It's kind of cool. Like, I feel like I know you guys, but then after this, it's like, wow, I didn't know you guys like that. And like, I think like with Ryan, like Ryan's a legend in many ways. I know you perform with LMFAO. I know, but like you said earlier, the motive of why, and I think that was. I didn't know that you had low self-esteem, and I had
for real.
I thought you were this guy that like, oh, I'm gonna try this, and you're the epitome of confidence to me. So
that's what I see in you too.
Because the context helps too. Because usually it's like, oh, a fucking cat fell out from a tree. Oh, that reminds me of that one time I was performing with LMFAO and I saw a cat. So it's like the way it's, so it throws away. So it kind of it's not tied together.
But then there's a Swiss Army knife. He's like, and then I was working with this guy too, and he's like a famous guy. And it's like, what the fuck?
And there's something fantastical to momentum of hearing it all in one go because like I know everything, but then when you have to, in the best way, when you have to listen to all of it, I was like, this motherfucker legend.
But
Like, it was incredible.
It is really cool to hear how one of these stories led to the next with everybody.
And I felt I was there with you. Like, you know, we were talking about like all the girls going into one classroom. I felt like I was at Cypress College going, where are all these chicks?
And like, what a not payoff that was.
I thought you were in a crush, dude. I didn't think you were just gonna do jazz dance.
I was like, this guy's about to tell us a story about how he annihilated fucking.
But it's like, when you tell, when you're
He's like,
telling
I got
the thing-
addicted to the studies.
But it's kind of like Joe's. It's like Joe's thing of like, it got you in the class, and then you wanted to do the class.
Yeah.
You know, it's that thing of like, it's so easy to tell other guys, like, look at how, like, I didn't sleep with a single one of these girls or become romantically involved in any of them because I respected what we were doing more. And that's like, that says a lot about you falling in love with a thing. It's like, damn.
It's sick that there is this like, when hearing everything in sequence, there's such a consistent like thread that all of us experience, and it's like, as cheesy as it is, like all of us, we went through whatever we went through, but then life kind of just happened like for us. You know what I mean? A lot of things that we fell into that became a sense of our true identity were things that like were a result of us fucking up or doing the wrong things, and then finding ourselves in a new position, or not having self-esteem and then putting ourselves in a certain situation, or like losing confidence and then suddenly finding it because like a mentor like showed up and did something right by us.
And actually took confidence, you know?
Yeah, and it's like, it's crazy because, again, as Steve would say to the kids out there, like, these aren't just like stories and happenings that are arbitrary and like fun to hear. They're like randomly tied and consistent with anybody's possible life existence if you just like pay attention in hindsight, you know?
Right.
And it's fucking cool to just see that happen to everybody in their own way.
I love you boys, seriously. Thank you for this. Thanks, Bart.
I'm really glad we did this. I was initially reluctant, but I'm really glad we did this.
There's no gun next to us that he's really saying it.
I'm like, yeah,
I'm
thanks.
so not excited for when Bart asks us to do our 5 worst moments in life. Shit. It's gonna suck.
But that kind of goes to show, like, your best moments are overcoming your worst moments. Like, what changes you?
That's true.
It's, you can't avoid, like, you know how Bruce Lee goes, like, don't pray for an easy life, pray for strength to deal with the hard one, right? So, like, in all of your guys' stories, I was like, this is why you're my friend. This is why I respect you. This is why I like you in my circle, is because...
I slept with my mom, tells her.
Hey, don't make fun of that, guys. Come on.
I heard Bruce Lee got his ass beat
Probably.
pretty hard by a stunt guy.
But
You got thrown into a car, I think. A Chevelle.
I don't know.
87 Chevelle.
I think
I would like
there's
to hear from the stunt guy.
there's a common theme amongst everybody here that I like truly respect about like all you guys is like, you're in a situation where you're afraid or you feel like you're shit and it doesn't, but you still fight on. And I think
Nobody will quit. Nobody here will
dude,
quit,
that's
ever.
And it like I didn't know that Nick came in as a sorry fighter. I thought he was a phenom.
Legit.
I didn't know he was a little bitch.
Dude, he corrected me. He's like, I'm not a professional fighter.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
But then like his
I don't know.
story is and then like I didn't know you felt like a loser, Anthony. Like I thought everybody just started off as like, this is my talent.
I
This is
thought
my
he was
dream.
born sexually active.
Same. Same.
By the way, credit to Ryan for that line. Great line. Sexually active was his line.
Yeah, that's way better than sex
The
active.
Chiron on the fucking JK Thai market, he edited that video. Fuck.
Just better grammar overall.
You know what's a good next vid? After telling all these stories, what 5 demons have you unlocked?
Oh jeez.
Oh my god.
But yeah, thank you guys for watching. And if you have any questions with any of our series, because you know sometimes we skip over some of the things that could be important or other people want to know more about, let us know in the comments below what questions you have in any of our series, and we will continue the series. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
And we're finally out the closet, you know?
Hey! It feels good. It feels good.